The morning had barely broken when the doors of St. Mary's Hospital slid open with a hiss, letting in a cold wind that carried more than just the bite of winter. The staff inside were busy. Nurses moving with quick steps, doctors flipping through patient charts, and the faint hum of medical machines filling the air. But all that noise stopped in a heartbeat when someone at the reception gasped, "What on earth?" Every head turned toward the entrance. A golden retriever stood there, muddy, trembling, its fur soaked with rain and streaked with blood that wasn't entirely its own. Its eyes, wide and desperate, darted around as it let out a faint whimper. Clenched gently between its teeth was something wrapped in a small, faded blue blanket. For a second, no one moved. The scene was surreal. A dog in the hospital lobby, carrying something like a fragile treasure. Then a nurse, Sarah Mitchell, whispered, "Is that a baby?" The dog whined louder as if pleading for help. The room froze. The receptionist dropped her clipboard. Dr. Hayes, an experienced trauma surgeon, rushed forward, his voice steady but filled with disbelief. "Quickly, someone get the ready." The golden retriever, sensing help, moved forward with shaking legs, placing the bundle softly on the cold floor. The blue blanket shifted, revealing the tiny, pale face of an infant, barely breathing. The baby's lips were a faint shade of blue. The sight hit everyone like a punch to the chest. "Oh God," Sarah whispered, scooping the baby into her arms. "He's freezing." The dog let out a mournful cry, circling him, nudging Sarah's arm as if urging her to hurry. Dr. Hayes barked orders. "Get a warmer, oxygen, and a neonatal team. Now." The hospital sprang into motion. The once hushed hall exploded with energy. Nurses rushing with equipment, the sound of hurried footsteps echoing down the corridors. But even amid the chaos, everyone kept glancing back at the dog, standing motionless near the door, chest heaving, eyes filled with worry. "Who's he?" a janitor murmured. "Where'd he come from?" No one had answers. Sarah, holding the baby close as she ran, turned to look back. "Don't let that dog leave. He brought this baby here." The emergency room filled with sterile light and urgency. The baby was laid on a warm cot, monitors attached, doctors surrounding him. "Pulse is weak," said one nurse. "Temperature dangerously low," another added. Dr. Hayes worked with focus and compassion, rubbing the baby's tiny chest gently, adjusting oxygen flow, murmuring encouragements as though the infant could hear. "Come on, little one. Stay with us." Minutes felt like hours. Then, finally, a faint cry pierced the air. It was weak, but it was life. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "He's breathing," she whispered. Outside the doors, the golden retriever let out a low bark, as if responding to the sound, tail wagging once before his legs gave way beneath him. "Wait, what's wrong with him?" Sarah cried, rushing over. The dog lay trembling, exhaustion and injury catching up to him. His paws were cut, his fur clotted with dried blood, and one ear was torn. He'd been through something terrible. "Get a blanket," she said softly, kneeling beside him. "You're a hero, aren't you?" The dog's eyes blinked slowly, locking onto hers with a deep, knowing sadness, as if to say, "Just save the baby." When Sarah placed her hand on his head, he leaned weakly into her touch. As the hospital staff worked to stabilize both baby and dog, police arrived, drawn by the strange emergency call. Officer Daniels, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, stepped into the "We got a report of a dog carrying a baby into the hospital. Please tell me this isn't a joke." Sarah pointed to the infant, now stable and under a heating lamp. "It's real. He saved the child." Daniels looked stunned. How could that even happen?" The hospital's CCTV footage gave some clues. It showed the retriever trotting in from the storm, dragging the bundle from its mouth like something precious, navigating through traffic and rain as if guided by instinct. Later that afternoon, Daniels and Sarah decided to trace the dog's path. The storm had calmed, leaving the streets wet and littered with leaves. They followed faint paw prints mixed with tire marks, leading toward an old dirt road near the outskirts of town. There, among broken branches, they found a crashed vehicle, a small sedan, overturned, half submerged in mud. Inside was a young woman, motionless, one hand still clutching the seatbelt buckle. Sarah covered her mouth in horror. "The baby," she whispered. "It must be hers." The officer gently checked for a pulse. "She's gone." The retriever, he must have pulled the baby from the wreckage. Nearby, half buried under the mud, they found a cracked dog collar with a tag that read, "Buddy." Daniels exhaled, shaking his head. He must have been her dog. They returned to the hospital with the heartbreaking news. Sarah walked over to where Buddy lay resting, hooked up to fluids. His eyes fluttered open as she approached. "Buddy," she said softly, holding his paw. "We found her. You did everything you could." His tail thumped once against the sheet, weak but proud. Days passed. The baby, now named Noah by the hospital staff, grew stronger. The nurses would take turns holding him, while Buddy remained in recovery. The bond between the two was undeniable. Whenever Noah cried, Buddy would lift his head, ears twitching, whining softly until the baby quieted down. Word of the miraculous rescue spread quickly. News crews arrived, calling Buddy the miracle dog. People sent flowers, donations, and letters of gratitude. But Buddy didn't care about fame. His eyes always lingered on the crib, where the baby he had saved slept peacefully. One morning, Sarah entered the room to find Buddy struggling to stand. "Easy, boy," she whispered. "You're still healing." But Buddy was insistent. He hobbled toward Noah's crib, resting his head gently against the rail. Sarah's heart melted at the sight. "You miss her, don't you?" she said quietly. "Your owner." Buddy let out a small whimper, eyes reflecting both loss and love. That night, after everyone had gone home, Sarah sat alone in the neonatal room. The soft hum of machines filled the silence. She looked at Buddy lying beside Noah's crib and sighed. "You saved his life. Maybe he saved yours too." When the hospital began searching for foster care for baby Noah, several families offered to take him. But each time they tried separating him from Buddy, the baby would wail endlessly, tears streaming down his cheeks until Buddy returned. It was as if he remembered. The warmth, the protection, the heartbeat that carried him through the storm. Dr. Hayes smiled one evening, watching them together. "Seems like they've already chosen each other." Months passed. Buddy made a full recovery. His golden fur grew shiny again, and his energy returned. But his eyes remained soulful, older somehow. A local couple who couldn't have children heard about the story, Michael and Laura Green. They visited the hospital, standing quietly by Noah's crib, tears glistening as they watched Buddy curl protectively around him. Laura whispered, "If he could love like that, imagine the kind of love we could give him both." After careful consideration, the court granted them custody of both the baby and Buddy. The day they left the hospital, the entire staff gathered to say goodbye. Sarah hugged Buddy tightly. "Take care of him, hero." Buddy wagged his tail and licked her hand, eyes filled with gratitude. As the Greens drove away, the hospital felt strangely quiet. Yet something lingered, a sense of hope, of humanity rekindled by a creature who asked for nothing in return. Years rolled by. Noah grew into a cheerful little boy with bright blue eyes, the same eyes that had once barely opened in that hospital room. Wherever he went, Buddy followed. Through his first steps, his first day of school, and every moment in between, the loyal retriever was never far away. On Noah's 6th birthday, the family visited a nearby hill where they planted flowers in memory of Noah's birth mother, the woman Buddy had once loved and lost. Noah knelt by the small stone and said softly, "Mommy, Buddy says hi." Buddy sat beside him, tail still, eyes gazing at the horizon as if remembering. That evening, as the sun dipped low, Buddy rested his head on Noah's lap. His breathing was slow, peaceful. Noah stroked his fur, humming softly. "You can sleep, Buddy. I love you." The golden retriever's tail wagged once more, then stilled. Silence. Only the sound of the wind in the grass. Tears streamed down Noah's cheeks. Mommy, I think he went to find you. Michael lifted the boy into his arms, his voice breaking. He'll always be with you, Noah. Always. A small ceremony was held under the old oak tree in their backyard. Buddy was laid to rest beneath it, wrapped in the same blue blanket he'd once carried, a symbol of life and love. Every spring, golden flowers bloomed there first, even before the rest of the garden. Laura would smile through her tears. He's still watching over him. Years later, when Noah grew into a young man, he became a paramedic, saving lives, just as his first hero had saved his. On his uniform, beside his name tag, he wore a small silver pin shaped like a paw print. And every time someone asked about it, he smiled and said, "That's for the one who taught me what love really means." Because once upon a stormy morning, when the world seemed cold and cruel, a golden retriever named Buddy walked into a hospital carrying not just a baby, but the very proof that miracles still exist.